Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Melissa Parks. I am a psychologist based in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, providing online counseling to individuals living around the world. My clients come to me for a variety of different concerns. Many of them are globally mobile individuals, so they might be struggling with relocating to a new place, maybe repatriation, dealing with thriving. How do I thrive in the place that I'm now calling home? Maybe struggling with depression, anxiety, disordered eating, grief to any sort of loss that they're currently experiencing. And so, although they come to me with a lot of different issues, I find that mindfulness is a piece of the work that we do together that ends up being incredibly helpful and important. Mindfulness is something that I try to practice in my own individual daily life, and I believe it helps me to also be a better listener in the therapy sessions that I have. So, when I tell people that we're going to incorporate mindfulness in the therapy we do together, I get usually one of three different responses. Some people have already incorporated mindfulness or an element of mindfulness into their daily life, and so they're looking forward to seeing how we can use that in the work we're doing together. Other people have heard that mindfulness is quite helpful, and more and more research is coming out about its benefits, and so they're excited to hear how we're going to use that. But more often than not, the response I get is a little bit more hesitant and skeptical about mindfulness. So maybe people will say to me, well, I'm not spiritual, so that's not for me. Or isn't that kind of a new agey kind of thing? I don't think so. Or maybe they'll tell me that they've tried it and it's not for them. So there are a lot of myths around mindfulness, but really what I try to help people to see is that mindfulness in the context of therapy, while it does come from a Buddhist tradition, it has been quite westernized to use it in therapy. There's a lot of research to back up the benefits of it. And one way to think about it, so instead of thinking about it as meditation and maybe some of the stereotypes that can come to mind for that, to think about it instead as a training of our attention muscle. So that's something we struggle with, and we struggle with even more with all of the technology that we have in our lives and all the things that are grabbing for our attention. Our minds usually don't tend to be in the present moment. They tend to be focusing on the future, so that way, or focusing on the past. So one way to think about it is that mindfulness helps us to very gently pull our attention back down to the here and now. And we do that by focusing on our breathing or focusing on something else, although breathing is often one of the first things that people learn to do with mindfulness. Focusing your attention on your breathing and knowing that your mind is going to wander, but that each time you notice it wandering and you bring it back to your breathing, you're strengthening that attention muscle. So I wanted to provide you with an introduction to mindfulness today in this video. But if I was going to do an intro to swimming class, for example, I wouldn't spend 5 minutes telling you about the physics of swimming or telling you about what it feels like to hold your breath. I would say, no, let's get into the pool and let's try some of these things out. And the same thing is true for mindfulness. I could talk for a long time about the benefits of mindfulness or what mindfulness is like, but you're not really going to experience it unless you give it a try for yourself. So for the next 5 minutes, I want you to find a place that's quiet and free from distractions. Turn your phone on silent. And if you're driving, please pause this and find another time and space to do this. And I'm actually going to grab my phone, though, because I find an app called Insight Timer to be particularly helpful with mindfulness meditation. It's an app that has some free guided mindfulness exercises, and it also has a timer that you can use to set a specific time for how long you want to do mindfulness for. And one reason why that's so helpful is that your mind will bring up the thought of how much longer is left in this exercise. And when you have this timer set, you can rest assured and remind your mind that the bell or the chimes or whatever sound it is will sound when this meditation is done. So your mind doesn't need to be distracted by that right now, and you can bring your attention much more easily back to your breath. So get comfortable wherever you're at. Just in a chair, in a seated position is ideal. Rest your feet on the floor, and that's the bell to start. So you can close your eyes right now. And just get started tuning your attention into your breathing. So taking a breath in and And then taking a breath out. Taking another breath in. And taking a breath out. Just breathing in and breathing out. As soon as we try to focus our attention on our breath, our minds will usually try to bring our attention elsewhere. So it can be helpful to remind our minds that there's nowhere else that we need to be right now. There's nothing else that we need to be doing. And just very gently refocus our attention on our breathing. So there are 3 different places that you can focus your attention when you're breathing. You might focus it on the air moving in and out of your nostrils as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Or as you're on your chest rising and falling as you breathe in and breathe out. Or on your belly rising and falling as the air comes in and as it goes out. Some people find it helpful to say something silently to yourself as you breathe in and out to help focus your attention. So you might just say in as you breathe in, and then out as you breathe out. Don't get frustrated if your mind doesn't go completely blank. That's a misconception about what mindfulness is about. Even Zen masters who practice meditation for years and years don't succeed in having a completely blank mind. The most important thing about mindfulness is to notice when your attention moves away from your breath, and very gently, as though it was a balloon that was floating off into the sky, and you're very gently bringing it back down to the ground, back down to the here and now, back to focusing on your breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. Our breath is like an anchor in the here and now. It's what helps us to stay back to the present when our mind floats off to the future or off to the past. It's completely okay when your mind wanders off. The only thing we need to do is to very gently, very kindly, so not beating ourselves up, but just notice, oh, there's thinking, or oh, there's a feeling, or oh, there's remembering, and just bring our attention back to the here and now, back to our breathing. Time and time again, we will need to bring our attention back to the here and now. Again, remembering that each time we do this, we're strengthening our attention muscle. We're strengthening our ability to notice when our mind wanders off. You might need to remind yourself again, there's nowhere else you need to be right now. There's nothing else you need to be doing. Just breathing in and breathing out. One way to think about our mind is like a little puppy that wanders off. It wanders off, and then we have to remind it, no, come back here, stay here, and it will wander off again. Time and time again, we have to remind the little puppy, stay where you are, and time and time again, it will wander off. This is the type of compassion and patience that we need to practice with our minds. It takes practice. It's not something you need to perfect right here and right now. So that's the sound of the bell. I want you to bring your attention back to the room that you're sitting in. Take a couple deep breaths in and out. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe move your neck around a little bit. And congratulate yourself for taking a couple of moments today to practice doing mindfulness. Now, if you found it to be difficult, that's completely normal. In fact, very often I assign this activity to my clients so that they try it out and then come back and tell me all of the difficulties they've run into. But it's something that is like any skill, like learning a language, like riding a bike. You have to keep practicing. And the more that you do it, the more you will find that you're able to notice when your mind wanders off in your day-to-day life. So if you or anyone you know might be interested in having a session with me and learning more about how mindfulness might be able to help you with some current concerns that you're experiencing, I do offer a 15-minute free consultation for individuals to be able to see if I would be a good fit for them as a therapist, and to see get any of your questions answered and see what online therapy is like. So please find me at www.intentionalexpat.com or send me a message. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to being able to share more mindfulness practices with you as well. Thanks. Bye.